Have you ever heard of the world's most expensive coffee? Now, we're not talking about some fancy blend with gold flakes or a brew from centuries-old beans. We're talking about Kopi Luwak, a coffee that will intrigue you, surprise you, and make you question everything you thought you knew about your morning cup of joe. Originating from the beautiful archipelago of Indonesia, specifically the islands of Sumatra, Java, Sulawesi, and Bali. This coffee takes its name from the local language. Kopi translates to coffee in Indonesian, and luwak is a term for a civet, a small mammal native to these regions. But Kopi Luwak isn't just your average coffee. Oh no, my friends, it's not just the civet's homeland that gives this coffee its name, but also their, well, let's call it their contribution to the process. Intrigued yet? You should be. You see, the civets have a particular fondness for coffee cherries. They eat the cherries, and then nature takes its course. And it's in this process, believe it or not, where the magic happens. The cherries ferment as they make their way through the civet's digestive system, and once they're, shall we say, retrieved, they're cleaned, roasted, and ground, ready to brew into the world's most exclusive coffee. So what you're left with is a coffee that's not only unique in its production but also in its taste. Smooth, less bitter, and with a rich, complex flavor profile that's often described as having hints of chocolate and nuts. Now, before you raise an eyebrow too high, remember this. Kopi Luwak is the most expensive coffee in the world for a reason. It's not just about the taste or the unusual production process, but also the rarity. The entire process is labor-intensive and the yield is relatively low, making this coffee as exclusive as it is intriguing. This is not your average cup of joe, but what makes it so special? Well, stick around and we'll dive deep into the world of Kopi Luwak. The uniqueness of Kopi Luwak lies in its production process. Are you ready for this? Now let's dive into the unusual yet fascinating journey of the Kopi Luwak beans. It starts in the lush tropical forests of Indonesia, where the civet cat, or luwak in Indonesian, plays a pivotal role. These nocturnal creatures have a rather gourmet palate, showing a marked preference for the ripest coffee cherries. Once the luwak feasts on these cherries, the real magic begins. Inside the luwak's digestive system, the coffee beans undergo a natural fermentation process. How, you ask? Well, the luwak's stomach enzymes penetrate the outer layer of the coffee cherries, initiating fermentation. This process, believe it or not, is what gives Kopi Luwak its unique flavor profile. But hold on, the journey isn't over yet. The coffee beans, now transformed, make their exit in the luwak's droppings. Yes, you heard that right. These beans are then collected, though not without effort, as luwaks are solitary animals, and their droppings are scattered across the forest floor. Now comes the cleaning process. The collected beans are thoroughly washed to remove any remnants of the luwak's digestive process. This is followed by drying, usually under the warm Indonesian sun. The beans are then sorted and only the best ones make the cut for the next stage. Next, they're roasted. Roasting is an art in itself, and it's during this process that the beans develop their final flavor, color, and aroma. The roasting temperature and duration are closely monitored to ensure that the unique characteristics of the Kopi Luwak are preserved. Finally, the roasted beans are ground, ready to be brewed into a cup of the world's most exclusive coffee. It's a long and intricate journey, from the luwak's feast in the Indonesian forests to the coffee cup in your hand. It's a process unlike any other, resulting in a unique taste that has coffee enthusiasts buzzing. So, what does the world's most expensive coffee taste like? Well, let's dive into the flavor profile of this rare and intriguing brew, the Kopi Luwak. Fans of Kopi Luwak rave about its distinctive taste, a result of the unusual production process we discussed earlier. As the coffee beans pass through the digestive tract of the civet, they undergo fermentation. This process imparts a unique set of flavors to the beans, which are then maintained throughout the roasting and brewing process. The resulting cup of coffee is often described as smooth, less bitter, and rich. The bitterness that's characteristic of most coffee is notably toned down in Kopi Luwak, making it a great option for those who prefer a milder brew. And the richness? That comes from a complex layering of flavors that unfold as you sip. Some even detect a hint of chocolate and nuts, adding to the depth and complexity of this coffee. But let's switch gears and talk about the price. As one of the most expensive coffees in the world, the cost of Kopi Luwak can be quite steep. The price varies significantly depending on the quality and origin of the beans. But why is it so expensive? Well, remember the civet's role in the production process? That's part of it. The process is labor-intensive, requiring careful collection, cleaning, and roasting of the beans. Plus, the fact that civets are wild animals and cannot be reliably farmed for their coffee beans adds an element of unpredictability, contributing to the limited availability of this coffee. So the question remains, is it worth it? Well, it's not a simple yes or no answer. For the casual coffee drinker, the high price tag might seem extravagant. But for coffee connoisseurs, those who relish the unique flavors and appreciate the process behind each cup, it just might be. After all, savoring a cup of Kopi Luwak is not just about drinking coffee, it's about experiencing a unique piece of coffee culture and history. And for some, that experience could very well be priceless. Now, how do you make a good cup of Kopi Luwak? It all starts with fresh beans. Ensure you're getting them from a trustworthy source to guarantee quality. Once you have your beans, it's time to grind. Grinding them just before brewing will help you capture the full spectrum of their complex flavor profile. Next, water. Using high-quality water is crucial as it makes up the majority of your coffee. Now, onto the brewing method. Kopi Luwak is versatile and can be prepared using various methods from filtered coffee to espresso. The water temperature and brewing time are also key factors. Different brewing methods require different temperatures and timings, so make sure you're getting it right. And finally, the coffee-to-water ratio. Feel free to experiment with this until you find the balance that suits your palate perfectly. Take your time to savor the unique taste and aroma of Kopi Luwak. It's a coffee experience like no other.